I am here today with Harris Lahti. Am I saying your name right?
Lottie, yeah.
Foreclosure Gothic is your new book. Is it in a hardcover?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's just
I,
the art.
I got that. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
oh,
I
oh.
wanted to get it to you early.
I know, I love it. And as you can see, it is well fucked up and everything. Um, how did you get into writing? How did you discover you were a writer?
That's a good question. I I think that um like language was always there for me. Like I never was like good at school. Like I'm terrible at math. I really never like tried very hard to be academic, but I always could kind of like coast by in those English classes. So I always kind of like had that skill set. But yeah, in undergrad, I like took in college, this
Where'd you
teacher,
go to school?
U Albany, SUNY Albany, which
Oh.
has the it had Fence at the time, the literary magazine I started working for, and it had
Mhm.
the Writing Institute because William Kennedy was there, who wrote that really incredible book Ironweed. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It won the
Yeah,
Pulitzer.
yeah. I mean,
Really, really incredible writer. But then I weirdly Lydia Davis and Lynne Tillman both taught an undergrad class there.
oh, did you take them?
I took the class with Lynne Tillman, and I had no idea who she was. I didn't know anything about her. And she really like kicked my ass. And it was like a really good experience because I wanted to like her to please her, like I liked her energy. Like she was no bullshit and I trusted her. So it kind of like helped me to understand that creative energy and like the refining of it was like important. I thought there was like a real beauty in that.
How did she kick your ass? Like what type of things would she?
Just like a lot of red pen, and no nonsense. Like I think she kind of I'm trying to choose my words carefully, but she's got like a specific kind of attitude and it's always kind of like maternal while also like you know, no nonsense. And she's very funny too. So the last time I saw her, she read at my Foreclosure Gothic launch. And in the first 5 seconds of seeing her for the first time in like 5 years, she called me fat because she was like, "Oh, you grew since I've seen you." And I didn't get any taller. And she was like, "I know."
That's funny. That's funny. Wow.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get it. Look at that. Great. Tell me about this picture, the art, the cover art.
I didn't actually take the picture. It's Rodrigo Corral Studios. But I did talk to the artist, and I thought it was cool that her boyfriend was the one who she'd photographed with the Ring camera on their front porch.
Oh, wow.
And he's a skateboarder. And I like that it kind of represents me a little bit like that because it's got the hoodie on and everything. So still feels.
Yeah, and it is really creepy. So why don't you kind of riff a little bit about what it's about and what led you to want to write this?
Yeah, so the story basically kind of follows my dad's trajectory and then it kind of intersects with mine. So yeah, like my dad was an actor for a long time in the 80s and 90s and he was in soaps, he did a couple features, he did some guest spots, stuff like that. Like
Living in Los Angeles?
yeah, he lived in Los Angeles. Yeah. Yeah, I actually grew up until maybe four in the Oakwood apartments
I
where
lived there.
oh, really? We were there from like 89 to like 92 or 3. Well, yeah, and there's a lot of people and a lot of talent that like just rolls through there. Like we were talking earlier about one of my teachers who's in the Lemonheads, whose book we're publishing with C4G, and he actually lived there when I was a child and he was in that band. So
Wow.
there's a lot of like really funny, weird connections about that place. Um, but yeah, so my dad was like working as an actor, but not really cutting enough to like fund raising two kids and a family. So once he met my mom, like the math of it kind of started to change once he had kids, and he moved back east where my mom's from New Jersey, my dad's from Albany, and they settled down kind of like in the middle in the Hudson Valley where we live now. And basically this is like re in retrospect, but I kind of feel like I just I mean kind of trying to like set out to understand like why you do that, like how far you should take that impulse to kind of like provide for your family versus like sacrifice for your art kind of thing, and like where like the best balance lies, and kind of like work out this warning to myself and maybe my dad too, who's still kind of working and renovating houses through the years like he always did, despite how much money and wealth he's kind of amassed over the years. So basically the book kind of like tracks that trajectory, where Vic and Heather meet and the inevitable happens. They fall in love, they have kids, and it's all about him trying to like convince himself that he's okay with what's happened and trying to find joy in and meaning in the work.
Yeah, and the ghost part, their kind of haunting is on one of the projects. Do you want to talk about how you weave that in, or is that gives too much away?
Yeah, like the haunting part, it's interesting, like I feel like it's more of something we kind of like create psychically. Like I feel like you need two people to kind of like believe something's haunted, because you kind of have to have that like back and forth of like storytelling, like for instance, like the house down the road from me, I've talked about this in other interviews, but it's just like the most related to the haunting part is like the gravestones in the basement, right? Like I have that grave like it's 20 feet away from me now in my driveway. That story is based on. It was like one of my earliest memories. My dad had pulled this grave up out of this house that he was renovating, and he came to realize that there were other graves down in the basement, and that people did this to kind of avoid the fees of having to bury people in cemeteries because they started to like mandate that you did that, right? So the reason I'm telling you the story is like those graves kind of sparked this sort of like back and forth with my dad and my mom, and my grandparents, and by the end of it, everybody kind of believed something was wrong with the house. And just this little fact, and it's like you can explain it away as exactly what it is, but it doesn't change the fact that there's a mom and a son whose remains are forever under the floor of this basement.
Wait, so did you move them, or what did you do?
He just knocked him out, and I think he probably left the bodies down there, honestly, because it would have been too much trouble to try to exhume them. And
And it's probably just dust and everything like that. I mean,
right, you would hope anyway. But it,
well,
it got to the point where like my parents were actually considering moving in there because it was really this beautiful farmhouse back when you could buy like a nice house around here on the cheap. Um, but they ended up not doing it. He had all these kind of reservations after that happened, and my grandma like wouldn't go in the house when she visited because she was just so weirded out by this story. And it's not haunted. Of course, it's not haunted. But yeah, so I kind of like that idea of like the myth of things kind of like rising to become like this like barrier to entry. And that was something that Vic kind of had to he thought his wife would struggle with, but the fact that she didn't was kind of another sort of like unsettling moment.
yeah, yeah, it's the barriers we tend to put up, those are our hauntings and our ghosts.